Okay, so now this is the second algorithm, which is very similar, but it's just implemented in a different way. This is the algorithm that John Paris created. So what he does is that he measures the bandwidth in order to measure the squeeze and the expansion of the upper band and the lower band. So, he set up here some variables where he gets the upper, lower, base, and then he gets the bandwidth based on those. Turns it here, and then he gets the ratio, and calculates it in right here. So the ratio, the squeeze of the ratio, that's true. Here's the expansion. So if there was a squeeze and then the ratio is greater than the expansion ratio, then so here he pretty much has the same thing as me when checking an expansion and uptrend and a break of the upper band. So here, if the upper band is greater than, if the current upper band value is greater than the previous upper band value, and the previous upper band value is greater than its relatively previous upper band value, and the current lower is less than the previous, and then continues on to the previous lower, the relatively, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. So the current lower value is less than its previous lower value, and then that lower value is less than its previous lower value. Then it's a good indication of an expansion. And when he's checking the uptrend, he pretty much checks that the current candlestick's open is greater than the close, meaning that the candlestick is going up, and here that the previous candlestick has also broken through the upper band by checking that its closed is greater than the upper band value, and checking the line break in order to trigger the open. He does the same thing where he checks the close, the close price is greater than the upper. So here close, since we're checking it every tick, close, if we're in the current candlestick, it changes onto, it moves on to the next candlestick. Then this would become close 1 instead. But so yeah, so it checks the candlestick until it breaks the upper band. And so here you pretty much puts them in an if condition, expansion, and a check expansion, and a check uptrend, and the line break. Then he sets the condition to true, which he returns it, and same as mine, we both return the values down to the main long condition. And you can see here that condition 1, Bollinger algorithm 1, condition 2, Bollinger algorithm 2. And here is pretty much the logic for that. So this is the main logic right here. So if my algorithm is met, or his algorithm is met, then a trigger will be, it would trigger a strong signal, a good signal. Okay, so those are the trading modules that we've created and included them in the main expert advisor. And so we've set it to measure every tick. And what we've done is that we've created separate thresholds based on different combination of patterns that we've programmed to trigger. So overall we have 3 signal thresholds for 6 different signal thresholds for 6 different combinations, and everything else stays the same. The profit, and these are the parameters for Bollinger Band, and these are the parameters for MACD, parameters for RSI, parameters for resistance, parameters for Fibonacci, and the parameters for closing the position. So here 45 minutes is the max that we've set, and the lots, we've made sure that it's one standard lot, so 100,000 lots, and that gives us the ability of making 1 pip or $10. So here we've created the 6 separate calls to the expert module that are right here. And so we have it's pretty much the logic. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finally 6. So just to go over it pretty quick, for example, this is a combination of Bollinger Bands and RSI. So we've initialized the expert from here, initialize the expert here, created that respective signal. Here we've initialized the signal, we set up the threshold for it, price level, stop level, take level, expiration, and the filters. So the filters for the trading modules that we'll be calling. So for example, these are the Bollinger Bands that we'll be using for this signal exclusively, and RSI, this is it, and of course the closing of the position, whether it takes a profit or stop loss, or it doesn't. And trailing, keep going down, this is the money object. So here, and the validation trading object, and the indicators that will be calling. So that's pretty much the same throughout every other combination. So here we have 6, and the main thing here, same on trade and on timer. So the main one is here in on tick. This is exactly where they're going to be called and triggered. So expert 1 is based on Bollinger Bands, RSI, MACD, support and resistance, and Fibonacci retracements, all signaling together at the same time to open a trade. Down here for expert 2, we have a combination where Bollinger Bands, RSI, and MACD, all 3 at the same time, signal to open a trade, regardless whether support, resistance, and Fibonacci retracements don't. Now down here for 3, we have Bollinger Bands and support and resistance. So Bollinger Bands and support resistance at the same time signal to open a trade, regardless whether RSI, MACD don't. It won't matter. So again, the Bollinger Bands and support resistance signal to open a trade, regardless if RSI, MACD don't. It will open a trade. Down here is a combination. So for X4 is a Bollinger Bands, RSI, Fibonacci. So Bollinger Bands, RSI, and the Fibonacci retracement all together at the same time signal to open a trade, regardless whether MACD and support resistance don't. It will open a trade because it signals a strong signal to open. Down here, same. It's a combination only for, so if Bollinger Bands and MACD signal at the same time to open a trade, it will open a trade regardless whether it's RSI, support and resistance, and Fibonacci retracements don't. And finally, Bollinger Bands and RSI. Together, if they both signal a good strong trade signal to open a trade, it will, regardless whether the other signals don't. And here, pretty much just delete that. And that's pretty much it. And so I think the last thing I like to explain is that, so the reason why I deleted this is that if you have it set only like this, for some reason when you test in the strategy tester, it doesn't trigger every single open. Like, it doesn't trigger every trade to open for each one for some reason. I'm not sure. I think it's maybe because it once, for example, if this is called, it gets fixated on this, for example, and it doesn't trigger the rest, and it kind of has a sporadic switch between them as every candlestick or every tick goes on. You know, sometimes it gets fixated here and it sporadically switches to here, and it gets fixated on this one for some time, and then sporadically changes to this one, and the same thing. And so it doesn't open every trade as it should for each one. So what I've done is that instead I've done it so that it switches. So every little tick, every tick that it changes, meaning if it changes from 1.1 to 1.2, then it switches between them, and for some reason it works perfectly. So what I do here is I've created a global variable where I start off with switching goes 1. So if switching equals 1, it'll open this trade, and then it'll set switching to 2. So the next time, so the next tick, it will come through here, and then the next tick it will come through here, and then the next tick will come through here, and the next tick here, and then here, and then it will go back, and again it'll continue going on. I'd just like to show a quick example of what I mean by that. So here I'm in the strategy tester. So this is the expert advisor, final test. We're testing the GBP USD currency pair with a 15-minute time frame, and this is the date we've set. And so as you can see here, the resistance line, support line here are in white. The Fibonacci lines are in yellow. They haven't formed yet because it's the very beginning of the time, but as it goes on, the lines will start forming. In green are the Bollinger Bands, the MACD. So the MACD are the bars in white, and the signal line is the red.